So for our last unit together, the Freedom of Individual Thought unit, it's been all about thinking for yourself, as the title implies. And it's been all about the struggle to break away from conformity, from blindly and passively following and accepting. And so we want to have a final assessment that matches the ideas, the goals of this unit, that really fits with the spirit of this unit. So we want to give you guys a chance to tap into your creative side and to really show your individuality and to really reflect on what you've learned so far in this unit. So for your final assessment, you're going to be doing 3 major things. You're going to create a visual. You're going to present this visual, and then you're going to comment on 3 of your peers' visuals and presentations. And this is going to be worth a total of 50 points. So this is a good chunk of your points when you think about how much things have been worth. So we want you guys to really make sure you're doing a nice job with this. So let's take a look at what these main components are and what you need to do for them. So the first is the visual. For our Freedom of Individual Thought commenting assessment, you will create a 1-page, so 8.5 by 11, original visual that showcases your learning. And I want to make sure I highlight here original. So you are creating something yourself. You're not just getting a picture from the internet. You're not taking something that someone else has created. This is something that you are doing or manipulating in some way that is original, that you have thought up and done, right? It's all about freedom of individual thought here. So for this, we really want to give you guys the chance to tap into your creative side to create this visual. So there's a lot of ways that you can do this. And we posted a video of 3 options for how you could create your visual. But basically, you could do a painting, a drawing, a collage, a photograph, some sort of symbolic representation. It could be a visual that is your own words. We've had some amazing visuals that were a poem that students wrote themselves. That was their visual. And then they did a beautiful design in the background or an image in the background that was a representation of the words that they created. So lots of options here. This is something that you could draw, right? You could use construction paper, or you could use one of the great apps that we have on our iPad, like Notability or Procreate. Whatever it is that you do for your visual, the goal is that your visual demonstrates your knowledge of the unit, the humanities, and the essential questions. And that was in Schoology under our Freedom of Individual Thought page. It has to showcase something you learned. It has to expand upon an aspect of the unit that interested you. And we want it to extend your thinking. It needs to show thought, effort, and creativity. So I just want to go back and explain a couple of these things. So you're going to choose something in this unit. Maybe it was the concept with technology that really you found interesting. That's something from the unit that you're going to start with and then somehow go from that. You don't want to just create the mechanical hound. You want to somehow extend your thinking. So take the mechanical hound and then do something with it. Make a connection with it. Create something in our own world today that is connecting to the text, but then going beyond the text. That shows that you're really understanding the text, but then pushing it further. And whatever it is that you create, make sure it shows thought, effort, and creativity. This should not be something that you whip together in 5 minutes. If you are using construction paper, make sure it's neat. If you're doing something on the iPad, make sure it's colorful, thoughtful. So again, this should really show a lot of effort. The visual portion of your final assessment is going to be worth 20 points. And again, here are the requirements bulleted out. Original, 1 page, connect to the unit, humanities, and/or essential questions, extends and expands on your learning, and displays quality, effort, and thought. So that's the first thing that you're doing. The second thing that we are doing is presenting this visual. So you are going to either record or type out a brief presentation explaining what you've created. So notice here, guys, you have 2 different options for this. You're either going to record or you're going to type up your presentation. Whichever option you choose, in your presentation, you must explain what you created, why you created it, how it connects to the unit, and how it extends on your learning. So there's some really great examples of this posted in Schoology that you guys can take a look at to get an idea of what these presentations might look like, depending on which option you go with. But again, like I said, there are 2 options for your presentation. If you go with the first option, the recorded presentation, you are going to either do a screen recording of your visual while you describe it, or you're going to record yourself presenting your visual. So whichever one of those you do, this presentation should be 1 to 2 minutes. So in 1 to 2 minutes, either like I'm doing right now, you're going to do a screen recording with the image there where you go through and you point out and talk about the things that you created, why you created it, how it connects, and how it extends your learning. Or you're going to hold up your iPad or your visual and have someone record you going over that. And it shouldn't be longer than 2 minutes. If it's less than 1 minute, that's also a problem because it means you're not giving enough detail. So it needs to be between 1 to 2 minutes. Now, if you don't want to do the recording option, you could go with a typed presentation. And again, there's an example of this posted in Schoology. So if you do the typed presentation, it needs to be well written, typed paragraph following MLA format, so no contractions, everything spelled correctly, good grammar mechanics. You've got your heading at the top, your title, it's double spaced, and it should be no more than 1 page. So ideally we're looking at like a paragraph here, where again you're doing the same things. You're describing with words what you created, why you created it, how it connects, and how it extends and expands on your learning. So this part of the assignment is going to be worth 20 points, and it has to adhere to the following requirements. So regardless of whether you're recording your presentation or typing your presentation, it needs to be well organized. This is something that you clearly practiced and thought out, or if it's written, it's something that you've clearly revised and spent some time on. So there needs to be a clear introduction and a clear conclusion. In your presentation, in no particular order, so that these can be in any order you want, you need to make sure that you explain what you created, why you created it, how it connects, and how it extends your studies and learning. And again, there are examples of this posted in Schoology. All right, the third part, there's some other requirements here that I've totally missed. Make sure that your explanation is thorough and thoughtful. Make sure that you are using the visual as a model. So especially if you're doing a screenshot or a recording of your presentation, you need to make sure that you are pointing out specific things in your visual. If you're doing the typed example, you need to make sure you're very specific. In the visual, you will see this is there because. So you're really using the visual as your model throughout this presentation. And then again, it needs to be appropriate length. So if it's a video, 1 to 2 minutes. If it's a writing, 1 paragraph. Basically no more than a page. All right, last part of this final assessment. So you are going to have your visual and presentation done, and it must be uploaded to the Freedom of Individual Thought folder under Final Assessment in the discussion page in Schoology by Thursday, May 7th at 11:59 p.m. So that would be your visual and whichever presentation format you went with. Then, this is the third part of this assessment. You must watch and or read, right, depending on whether your peer that you're watching or looking at did the paragraph or the presentation. Watch and or read and comment on at least 3 other peers' projects by Sunday, May 10th at 11:59. So at least 3 other peers. You're going to click on what they've created. You're going to view the visual. You're going to either watch or read the presentation. Then you're going to leave comments. Your comments will be worth 10 points. And they need to adhere to the following requirements. You need to respond to at least 3 different peers. Your choice who you respond to. But I strongly encourage you guys to maybe pick peers that haven't already been commented on. If you notice that a peer has already been commented on, pick someone else, just so we're spreading things around. Your comments also need to be at least 1 to 3 well-written sentences. So you're not just saying, great visual, that's not enough. You are being really thorough, specific, and you're showing proper grammar and mechanics. So make sure you're proofreading before you post. In your response, in these 1 to 3 sentences, you need to identify something specific you liked or found interesting in their visual and or presentation. So in this visual, I really liked how you portrayed so on and so forth. I found this interesting because your reason why. You also need to, in these 1 to 3 sentences, explain how it helps you better understand this unit. So your portrayal of that really made me think differently about the theme, so on and so forth, because, and my reason. So these comments are thoughtful, thorough, well written, and they really show that you took some time to look at and think about what your peers have created. Because I know that you guys are going to have some really amazing, really neat things that you create for this final assessment. All right, humanities students, if you have any questions, make sure you send us an email or reach out to us. Happy creating!